Shut up and sit down.
Before we get too far into the video, a quick promotion from our sponsors, Composite Games. If you want to get any of the models that we paint in these tutorials and you want them 20% off, go check them out. There's a referral link in each of these videos, and if you use the code Bigmeksarmy, you get an extra 5% off. So that's a whopping 25% off your 40k and other hobby supplies. Definitely check those out. You following those links and using that store also helps us out as they give us credit. That means we get more models as well for cheaper, and we can do more tutorials for you. Everyone's a winner, so go check that out, and I'll let Andy crack on with his videos.
Howdy guys, Andy here from Bigmeksarmy Workshop Painter Studio, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while since we made a video, and this is the first one back in. It's another piece from a commission we had. This is Kinzar from Forge World, absolutely belting model, as you can see. Got a load of cool features, little samurai shaped helmet, and lots of interesting stuff. So we're going to get right on into it. As always, black base, and we've given a bit of an airbrush work with Israeli sand. This is to get a nice sort of dark grey colour for the whites. It's kind of a creamy colour, a nice brown touch, and we're just giving that for to give us something to work with, because as you know, painting white is annoying. So here we go. Now straight into the detail work. As you can see all the detail all over the place, and we're using something similar to the Forge World paint scheme, just with my own sort of stamp on it. So this is Tin Loss Red. As you can see, real nice rich colour. As always, slightly thinned down just to make it flow better, and we're just trying to be careful just to not go over any of the areas where we're not wanting to be red, because that just causes headaches later on. So as you can see, we've got some red patches all over the place. Got some kind of like tassets knocking around on his for his lower legs, and we're starting on the detailing. And this is Decayed Metal by Scale 75, real nice rich dark sort of goldy colour, or kind of a bronzy colour maybe, I'm not quite sure. And we're going around all the sort of metals with this is its base for the golden colours, and give it allows it to stand out really nicely against the white base colour. So now to the cloak. Now this is a mix of black leather and red leather, kind of purpley at this point. It's not quite the colour I wanted to, so I'm going to have to go back and adjust the colour, but I wanted it to be kind of a leathery look for this sort of cloak. I've never seen a Terminator in a cloak outside the Chaos range. A really nice flow to it. As you can see, it really works well alongside the armoured tassets as well. Got a nice feel to this particular figure. So once the brown's gone down, we're going to start painting all the inner workings. This is black metal. Now you can use iron breaker. Obviously these colours can all be replaced with any GW colours. There's a lot of similar ranges. Just I tend to use the Scale 75 ones, as they're nice quality, quite thin, and a lot of interesting colours. The GW ones are a little bit thicker. And if any of you use the dropper bottles, they have the downsides to being used as well. So it's not all good on the dropper bottle sides. So the black metal's gone down, and we're going to start doing a kind of a recess wash with Agrax Earthshade. Really thin this down. Didn't want it to pull in on any of the flat panels, as you can see. Just wanted to add a little bit of depth to the armour, and getting some nice dark lines in amongst all the crevices of the armour plates itself. Now I'm really looking forward to seeing what we do with Jagatai. I'd love to have a crack at that model. There's a hint, Jesper Kim, if you're out there. This is, I mean, the White Scar range is really nice, so I'm really hoping to pull something out of the bag when it comes to Khan himself. So after the Agrax is dried out, we're going on deep red. This is much brighter than the Tinderloss, as you can see. because I wanted a quite vibrant colour on the reds. I just chose to use a tin loss as a nice base colour, because with it being that bit darker, it's going to add a little bit more life to the colour. Once the lighter colours go on top, it's going to add a bit of depth to these pieces. And as you can see, just going nice and careful, trying to stay away from the inner workings, because I've painted them up in the black metal as well for the hinges and the joints between the plates. So just taking my time, really getting the paint exactly where I want it, and being really careful. Once the deep red's gone down, it's now Mayhem Red. These are all scale 75 paints for this stage, and as you can see, again, it's quite a vibrant red. Goes well over the deep red. The scale 75 red ranges are really nice, and have really helped me improve my painting of red. I'll say I've got quite close mixtures, so there's a nice subtle gradient to any of your painting work. So blood red now, as you can see, we're just keeping the gradients of the colours nice and small, keeping some of the previous layers in show, so you get a nice gentle transition, really making the patterning and this real nice detail work just stand out. So once the blood red's gone down, we're going back over it with Antares red, again leaving some of the dark colour showing through. We're just going to start keeping those bands ever smaller. I mean, you can paint this white with glazing if you wish. I just choose to do the layer method, as that was the mood I was in at the time. Sometimes I enjoy glazing, sometimes I don't, and never be afraid to try something different. I'm going to have to start trying out the load of brush technique and getting some work on with that, because it's definitely an interesting method. Once all that's gone down, I'm going to blend it all together a little bit with Caribou Crimson. It's going to darken some of the more orangey colours, it's going to make it a little bit more red, and it's just going to tie all those highlights together a little bit more. As you can see, it's going all over the place. Thinned it down as always. It just gives you a bit more control when you thin it down. It allows you to build up the layers a little bit, and just move the paint around a little bit, so it's less likely to pull, and you're going to get a bit more of a much more softer finish. You're going to get a much nicer transition if you just build up those layers gently. So now I've added some Mars Orange into the Antares Red, and this is just going to be some nice edge highlights now. It's just brighten them up right on the leading points, and it's just going to really accentuate the really sharp, nice detail work what's on there. As you see, I'm taking my time on this. It's a really nice figure. I didn't want to rush it, and just this nice bright highlights right on the edges, also on the face, just to make everything stand out. So the samurai helmet is a really interesting feature. It's got a kind of a demonic dog face, what you'd see in the samurai artwork. It really just brings it together. So going back onto the armour now, as you can see, using a mixture of off-white and Israeli sand. This is going to start bringing the colours where they need to be. Now the reason why it's shiny at this stage is I've given it all a gloss varnish just to protect it, so I'm not going to be pulling any paint off with my fingers as I'm painting away. So this is, like I say, the Israeli sand. It's going to start all over the model. The pure Israeli sand is going to be more on the inside edges, any of the shaded areas. So we're going to use a nice sort of a light cream as the base for this white. A little bit more off-white into the mixture now. As you can see, we're starting to focus on the edges, really starting to push those edges to a nice bright finish. The real trick with painting white is to not use it right until the end. You want to, in order to get a good colour, you need to use white as your final highlight. So once you're using white, you've got nowhere else to go. So just be careful. Try not to use white first. Use it as your last colour, just on the extreme edges, and that'll make the white look a lot better. And now I'm using pure white. This is Purity White by Scale 75, but there's a whole lot of whites out there. They're all very similar, and this is just going on the most extreme edges, and just to really brighten out those high points. Now, obviously, on a camera, it doesn't show up particularly well using painting white over a very subtly darker shade of white. So you'll get a better look at it at the end once we get a decent photo on there. So after the armour's been painted up in white, we're going back onto the detail work now, and this is getting a nice thin layer of Agrax Earthshade all over the gold, and this is going to start bring up those real nice details what's all over the model. Now obviously we're being careful not to get any on the armour. That's the only downside with painting the armour before you paint the trim, is that you have to be a little bit more careful around the armour plates itself. But it's not the end of the world. You can always go back and tidy things up. Just be careful and take your time. So I'm using Rune Lord Brass on the gold now. I do like this colour. We use it quite a lot, and it's a real nice highlight for the golden metals. As you can see, it just really starts to lift the colour, as that dark decayed metal and the Agrax are quite dark, so it really lifts it. And with it being such a thin paint, does it ever so gently, so you can get a couple of layers on there before the highlights start to really show out. So you can get subtle gradients with it just using that colour on its own. So I've added some Rune Fang to the Rune Lord Brass, and this is just picking out those highlights. Again, doing the same thing. I've had a couple of layers of the Rune Fang, Rune Lord Brass, and now I'm just throwing the Rune Fang in there as well. And it's just going to start picking out those highlight areas. Once it's dry, it's going to get it'll really start to show up ever so nicely. So after that, it's we've thrown a Agrax Earthshade in there, and now we're just finishing off those highlights with a bit of pure Rune Fang, just to make those leading edges extra vibrant and really stand out. So another Agrax Earthshade, just to add a little bit of shade to the model, add a bit more depth. Any of the areas where you've gone a little bit heavy on the highlights, the Agrax will just drop into the recesses and just really nicely just balance out those shades again, and you get a real nice effect. Again, as I've said before, just make sure you use a thin down wash. You don't want it pulling too much, and using thin down washes allows you to, as I've said, get a little bit more control over the shading areas, and you can build it up ever so nicely. So a little bit of work on the cloak now, and we've added some brown leather into the black leather, and as you can see, we're just going to start building up those highlights. It's a really nice flow on the cloak, so I'm just using a very gentle colour transition just to make it a little bit more leather-like, wanting to just bring it up a touch, take it a little bit away from that sort of kind of purpley leather look, whilst also keeping some of that colour, because it just it complements the reds really nicely. A little bit more brown leather and a touch of orange leather into the same mixture, and I'm going to start picking out those highlights a little bit more. As you can see, it's a little bit more of a brown colour now, much more leather-like, and it's just going to start bringing those colours together just nicely, and making it look a lot more like a natural leather colour. A little bit more of the orange leather into it, and we're just going to start getting those nice natural leathers now. And as you can see, it's just going to build up ever so gently, as those colours are going to darken up quite nicely once it's all dried out. And there you have it, guys. That is Kinzar of the White Scars from the Horus Heresy Forge World range. A lovely fig, as I've said before. I really enjoyed painting this one. It was an absolute beautiful model to paint. Some interesting colours used as well, and also the fact that it's got that samurai-esque armour gives it a real nice feel. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed painting it, and it's going to be good to get back onto making videos regular. So do watch this space. We're going to keep on making videos as always. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share with your friends and all that good stuff, and we shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye. Outro. Also, thank you to our affiliate links, which is the Outpost and Element Games, where you can get your standard 15 to 20% discount on all of your hobby needs. Please check them out. The links are in the description. And every time you do an order from them, we get 5% store credit at no cost to you, so it really does help out, keep the lights on and get new content in for you guys. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and we shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye.